Hello everybody, our sponsors this week are Right Flank. Check out Right Flank, a veteran owned, veteran operated clothing brand based in Liverpool, working to support those who need it. Thank you. Hello guys, welcome to today's special podcast, and today's guest is a guy called Ray Gilbert, who spent 36 years in prison after a crime that he claimed he never committed in 1981. Was it, Ray?
81, March 1981.
March 1981. So you spent a long time in correctional facilities.
I certainly have.
So do you want to tell me a little bit about this story? Because I read this story. This is how I got to meet Ray. I read this story in the Liverpool Echo, and I was quite intrigued as to find out, what happened, because I read somewhere that even the victim's dad was, he
was supporting us.
He was supporting you.
He was told something by the police. We don't know what he was told, but he then changed his mind. But he's I don't know if he's still alive. I heard he was ill for a while, so he'll probably be aware of actually what's going on with the media attention. 1981, I was picked up on Lodge Lane, going to my cousin's. I was jumped on by about 4 police, put in a car. They refused to tell me why I'd been arrested, and took me to Admiral Street, where they said I was being held on suspicion of murder. To me, it was a shock. I mean, I was a petty criminal, involved in all kinds of petty crime, doing stupidness, which I regret now doing, because some of the things we were doing. And the 2 police who were questioning me, they were adamant from the information they received that it was me and me co-accused. So it's only later on I actually found out that it was suggested that probably someone in my own family had actually put me in the frame. But prior to that, I was put in the frame in 1980. I was coming out the back of Entwistle Lights, which used to be waste ground, back between that and Crown Street. I was with me co-accused and someone else, and someone else had a copper tank in his hand. So we got pulled by the Popo, what we term police. And I think they asked where we lived. I proved I was living in Eddie, so they let me go, took them to the Wavertree Road police station. Whilst in Wavertree Road, one of them asked for an interview. One got charged, took the charge, and the other one asked for an interview with the police. And this is where my name went into the frame. The 2 conspiracies to rob. I wasn't aware until I actually started reading the undisclosed statements that the police refused to give for our trial. It was in there that someone said that, I was capable of doing these jobs. I'd asked someone, but it wasn't the case. I took someone up to a place on Lodge Lane called the Skyliner, if you remember it, Snooker Hall, which is now is a boxing place, and introduced someone to a certain person, and he was asked if he'd do it. He said no. So then he took me up to a place in Liverpool. I didn't know the area, which was Belvale, and because one of his sisters lived there, and he said, look, this is what we're going to do. Show me the job, show me the route we were going to do a bunk. And the police watched it for a week, both jobs, and said if they had acted on the information they were given, I would have been arrested the same day this crime happened. So, as I say, I got arrested. I was a young kid. Well, I was 21. I had a speech impediment, which was exacerbated by stress. So I had one playing the nice cop, I had one playing the bad cop, and the bad cop was just continuously making threats. We know it's you, we know you're the heavy man, we know your mate's the bad man. And I'm thinking to myself, where are you getting all this info from? No, I mean, I've never been in that kind of situation before. When I've been nicked, okay, yeah, I've done it, know what I mean? But this I hadn't done, know what I mean? I actually knew where I was. So I was being badgered, pressured. I had no access to no one. Nobody even knew I was there. After a couple of days, they took me in the holding room by the desk. One of them jumped on me, trying to throttle me, and we ended up on the floor. They got up and left the room and said, that was how you killed the man. Now I'm thinking, nah. So from there, it just went fucking Pete Tong. I owned up to something I didn't do. uh, pressurised to actually admit. Then they brought him in. He got nicked like a couple of hours later, but he was with his brief. So he was, I don't know what happened with his interview, but after a couple of days we were charged. Went to Bridewell. We were in a cell with 4 people. They took one out, sat him outside and asked him what we'd said. He said he hadn't said nothing because he admitted he knew the victim's family, so there was no chat whatsoever. One of them was a Chinese fella who didn't understand English. He was a kid sitting in the corner of the cell who knew me co-accused from Walton when he was doing the force. So they started talking. The next minute, this kid who knew him from Walton's come out with a statement saying that we said this and we said that, which didn't happen. So we went to Risley. People then were being asked questions about the case. They were making statements saying that we admitted it, which we hadn't. I did catch my co-accused in conversation on a couple of occasions with people who made statements. One of them actually admitted that he didn't write the statement. He said my co-accused wrote it out for him and said give it in and say this is what I told him. So we were in the hospital wing for I was in there for a month. Co-accused was on the ward. I was kept in the cell. He said we're not having 16 like you on the ward. So he was speaking to someone every day. And this kid, yes, I spoke to him a couple of times. And he was telling me, you need to tell him to fucking shut up because he's saying this and saying that. I said, well, I don't know what he's saying because I haven't done it. He said, he hasn't done it. Walked around with him a couple of times in the yard. He asked me a few questions. I said, I haven't done the crime. So then they both got moved on the wing. I got moved on the wing, put me on the same wing. And next minute I got called down to the office and I was asked by the staff and said, what are you charged with? And I went this. So they moved me straight off and said, we're not having you two on the same wing. So then I was on a different wing for them. And I could hear them every night actually chatting and thinking, what are you chatting about? Because you're saying you haven't done it. I haven't done it, but you're telling everyone, you're encouraging everyone to make statements. And that's what was going on in Risley. And
who's encouraging everyone to make statements?
Me co-accused.
Okay.
I think it would probably be his way of getting back at me. You know what I mean? So whilst we're on their remand, he's got Shanghai to Strangeways because his sister's boyfriend tried to do a bunk off the coach one time outside Cheapside. They cuffed and he dragged him off the coach and tried to do a bunk, but he got caught within about 50 yards. So he got put in patches. So he was in patches and got Shanghai to Strangeways. Then I heard whilst they were in Strangeways, the prosecution witnesses were in there. They had access to them, which the rumour was going around that they were telling them what to say. So after a month on remand, we went to Cheapside one day and I'm coming back in the van. And I've seen him in the interview room with his brief and two popo. So when we went to court the week after, he was told to tell me why I had to change briefs. We had the same brief. So next minute it just came out conflict of interest. So I didn't know what he'd actually said. All I know that he said it was me and my cousin and drew a picture of my footwear. You know what I mean? So I haven't actually found out exactly what was said in that interview. And then it just carried on like that for months and months till we actually went to court, giving evidence started giving evidence in my own defence after we had 3 trials. The first trial was dismissed on what one says cannot be held against the other one unless they go in the dock and say blah, blah, blah. The second one, we on this rumour that a prison officer's wife was on the jury. So they kicked out a second jury and just brought in a third jury and just carried on as if nothing mattered. We weren't aware that 201 witness statements had been withheld, which actually helped both defences because it detailed other people, more than 1 or 2. Some of them had 4 people they said they seen, some said they seen 2. And like they give the descriptions, put us on an ID parade. I wasn't picked out. He was picked out, but I understand that the rules were actually broken. I wasn't aware that there wasn't 12 people on his ID. But then they picked 2 other people out on the ID as well. So I don't think they were even questioned. There was no forensics whatsoever. The actual blood that was on my body was from my own skin. I suffered from epidermis dermatitis as a child. I used to have to paint myself calamine lotion. And as I got older, I used to use cream. So I used to scratch bad style. When under stress, my skin used to erupt even more. So I used to, my sheets were always covered in specks of blood, which was my own blood. So there was nothing. I was actually in a flat on Mill Street the time of the murder, above a shop with a girl called June Bannon. I was on bail, signing on for the robbery that the three of us got tried for after the murder, and I think we got 3 years each for that. Yes, I actually did that robbery. I did not do the murder. I was with her. The only time I went out downstairs to the shop to get firelighters and a paper, and then to sign on. Now, this is a question. If you done a murder, would you go and sign on every night?
At the police station?
Yeah. So I'm signing on at the police station, not aware that they were looting for me. So on the Monday, I've gone up to our Allison's in Eversley Street, went upstairs to get changed, and the bedroom had been wrecked. I'm thinking, who's been in there? I thought, can't be the kids because they're too young. And I thought, has Alison been in there looking for something? So I just carried on normal because I hadn't done nothing. So went up to Lodgy, and as I got halfway down Lodgy, I heard this screech, which in them days, you didn't really pay no attention. Cars screeching, going off here and there. Next minute, I was just jumped on and pulled in. You know what I mean?
So what was the evidence at the time? I've just been having a little look at this. What was the evidence at the time to suggest that you're involved in this? Was the evidence, like you said, there's no DNA?
There was no evidence.
Was it just hearsay? Was there someone that just...
I don't know who said what. All I heard was, when I got pulled in, there was someone in the holding cell next door to me, and I asked him, I said, what are you in here for? He said, same thing as you. He said, I've put names in who I think might have done it inside and out. So I'm thinking, well, I haven't done it. There was no evidence whatsoever apart from the false confession and the evidence from people in jail. That was the only evidence. And then,
it's really, I know you don't want to discuss anything regarding the new evidence. However, it's, you know, obviously there's news reports here, murder conviction undermined by fresh evidence, says campaigners. You know, which is there, and it understands here, why did you confess? Why did Ray confess to a crime he didn't commit and change his plea to guilty during the trial? How did that, what happened there? Why did, because like...
I was asked to change my plea.
To guilty?
I was told, change my plea. As long as the other fella gets off, you'll be okay. If he doesn't get off, you won't get killed.
Is that what you were told?
I was told to be by me co-accused.
So
he actually involved a couple of people, notorious, from the area. And in St George's Hall, in the holding cells, there used to be benches with vents in, so we were communicating through the vent.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't put us in the same cell. So it was a case of, when I started giving me evidence, then the next day, he's saying, look, what you've got to do, you've either got to put your hands up to it, or you've got to get me off. If I get off, you're okay. If I don't get off, you're getting killed. And so when we went to Walton, I'm being held in the block on a GOAD. He's up in a wing. And
that's good order and discipline.
Good order and discipline. So he's coming down to the block with one of these notorious people and asking the staff to put me up on the wing, where I believe there was a team waiting to iron me out. So after the trial for the robbery, I got moved to Strangeways, where they actually tried to set me up there.
Okay. So what's see the victim, right? How old was he?
I think he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
He was in his 20s.
It's like you'd have to be. I mean, I read the reports, Ray, and I was thinking, you know, even getting stabbed once is enough, but getting stabbed 19 times, that's like vicious. That's wanting to end someone's life.
But he was supposed to have been attacked outside first, taken in, whatever they had done to him, tied him up, and then stabbed him to death.
And you weren't even on scene?
I wasn't even there, no.
No. So, having to throw your hands into a guilty plea, it says here under duress.
That's right.
So, you know, you feel like you're being pressured, you were under duress.
Yes.
So you know, you get to guilty plea and you get to tariff.
I was given a 15-year recommendation in court by the judge, which basically you will serve 15 before you would even looked at for release.
Yeah.
And then it was doubled to an extra 20, because they say in my prison behaviour, the fact that was every time I went up for a review, you're pleading your innocence, knocked me back. It was only on the last review that they said, we're not going to mention the case, we're aware of your stance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your behaviour's improved. You know what I mean? And then
I think you've been away long enough by this stage at the...
well, people are turning around to me who were supporting me, said, look, you can fight the case better outside than inside.
Yeah.
Just shut up and just play the game. But I used to say to people, it's not a game. I say, it's your life. You're in prison. There's over 900 people in prison now who are part of the joint enterprise. Just from, they might have been at the scene and they're doing 30 to 35 for something they haven't done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like Wes Porter, Liverpool, these Durrell in Manchester, these like Bamba's a different thing, but even he hasn't done that. He's out there. But the joint enterprise group Gilbert have got a list of over 900 people. You know what I mean? And you don't really hear much about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's when that law which they brought in, they just ruin people's lives. You know what I mean? Families' lives, people's lives. Give them huge sentences for just might have been there. I mean, how can you predict what someone's going to do if you're actually out with them? You can't.
No.
No, I mean, you can't foresee, but they're giving people life sentences, IPP sentences, which they've already said. It's
inhumane.
Inhumane and supposed to have scrapped it. Yeah, but these people still, over 900 people still serving sentences.
IPP sentences.
Yeah, who shouldn't even be in jail. Know what I mean?
That's in prison for public protection.
Yeah. And then when you come out, they're on licence for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they can get off it. But no, it's scandalous.
So you've been you know, I've had experience of going to prison. I know what it's like, especially going to Walton. You know, and I believe, I reckon that by the you know, before you went to prison, you never had much experience.
No, I'd been to prison. I'd been to Borstal twice. I did 2 sentences of YP and 1 sentence of adult. So I did Inley Borstal, Stokeheath Borstal. I did 6 months twice as a YP in Walton. Well, one of them we spent nearly in the police stations because the prison officers were out on strike in 1980, and then I did 6 months as an adult as well, which after that was in...
But not major, just little sentences.
Just little sentences.
And now you're standing in the dock, and how was you feeling when the judges turned around and said, you know, I'm sentencing you, Ray Gilbert, to life imprisonment?
I was in bits. The body, I couldn't control my body. The body was shaking from inside and it come on the outside, so I'm having to hold the rail to try and stop myself from shaking, but I just couldn't. My body was absolutely just shaking in shock.
What was your first night like? Like, you know, after your sentence, sitting in, where was you, Walton?
No, we went to the healthcare in Risley over now, because that used to be the remand centre.
Yeah.
So the first night we were in the hospital and then transferred the next day to Walton. So I was just like that. I used to just pace up and down. I might not go to bed till 6 o'clock in the morning because I was paranoid. You know what I mean? I think, excuse me, when I went to Scrubs, and he shut bolt the door every night, I'm like that, thinking that door hasn't been bolted, someone's coming in. I used to be up and down all night. I might not go to bed till 6, and then I've got to get up at 8 o'clock to work in these prison workshops. But yeah, I was...
Was you given medication, or was you offered medication?
I was given, the first time I got medication, I don't know why they give it me, because I wasn't on medication. In 1982, Strangeways was a scene of discontent. There was mass protests going on the yards. People were setting fire to the cells. I'm actually in the block at the time on punishment. So there'd been a big mass protest one day where the whole jail went out in the yard, refused to come in. And like, used to have people who had that much influence could go, you don't stay out, we'll do you in, never mind the screws. So he went back in. 3 people set fire to a cell and died in in the cell fire. Someone then set fire on the other wing. Someone set fire to the healthcare. I'm in a block. I thought, right, I'm going to have some of this. I'm in a block. You couldn't barricade up in Strangeways because the cells were too big. So I turned the bed around on its side by the door. They'd left the table and chair in the cell. So I've smashed the table and chair up, set fire to it. So they come down about 15 minutes later with a little miniature fire extinguisher. At the time, it was funny. And they're trying to get in, but I'm standing with my knees right against the metal bed frame. So if they did kick it in, they'd probably damage my knees. Well, in the end, they did manage to get in. But rather than put the fire out, they had me spread eagle up like that against the wall with a little fire extinguisher hosing me, you know, with the foam. I think they were trying to choke me. So they dragged me out, put me in one of the strong boxes.
Yeah.
Fire engine come in with the fireman. They just stood in the doorway looking at me. I said, yeah, he's a nut. The doctor come in, didn't even come and check me over. He just stood in the doorway, looked at me and thinking, nut. So the next day, I had to go in front of this governor, who was notorious. I went in front of him wearing, you know, the old space suits used to give you, in the strip cell. I had one of them on, marched me in, and his attitude was, you nigger, you've been kicking off since you've been in. This is your 16th adjudication. You've been ordered to do 15. I'm going to make sure you do 30 and then get certified.
Is that what he actually said to you, right?
Yeah. Strangeways was racist.
Yeah. They
used to walk around wearing peak caps down, wear the National Front badges, hand leaflets out and call you nigger, gollywog, black bastard. So I'm in front of him and he said, that's what he said. He said, you fucking nigger, bum, bum, bum. And I turned around and said, listen, they should have left you to die in the tank, you fucking burn bastard. That was it. It was like, get this fucking nigger out and give him it. So took me out and put me in the cell. And next minute, some doctor come with some stuff. And I'm thinking, I didn't think about it. I just automatically took it. I wasn't on medication. I hadn't been prescribed nothing. It was in the worst nightmare I've ever had. They give me Largato in the liquid form rather than injecting in me. They give it me.
Was it the clear stuff?
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't have a clue.
Just cabbage there.
What I was doing. I was standing in the cell. I don't know how long I was in that cell for on punishment. I had a towel ripped in half round the neck, half there. I was imagining me family were outside the cell, and I'm down at the vent talking to them through a vent. I did not go to sleep. I was standing in the middle of the cell. I just didn't know what was going on. When they opened the door, I was going out. Can I have this? Can I have that? Going back. No idea what was going on. If I didn't get out of that jail, I think they would have killed me.
Was you subjected? That must have been a scary experience. I mean, was you subjected to a lot of beatings whilst away?
I've been jumped on a few times. Strangeways was the first time, as I say, 82. I was there. What happened is I got transferred from Malton to Strangeways, and the governor said, we're going to give you a chance. The minute you raise your head above the parapet, we're going to come down on you. So one day I'm leaning over the rail, because one of my cousins was on remand. I was trying to get a note over to him to say for sunburn. I heard someone screaming, you nigger, what do you think you're doing? I'm like, that. Is that someone talking to me? And I looked down, it was a screw. He said,
in Walton Prison, Liverpool?
No, Strangeways.
Strangeways.
And he was like, D-wing? And he said, yeah, you black bastard. And I just automatically turned around to do you talking to, you fucking white cunt. And the next minute I see a PO come along and said, go and get that nigger and bring him down to my office. Now the offices used to be cubicles that used to go across the wing. So this screw come up and tried to put his hand on me. I said, put your hands on me. I'm not special, not like that. I said, I'm going to throw you over. So he walked me down, walked into this office, and this PO, I remember him because he said to me, my name's Mr. Edwards. When I treat you with respect, I expect it back. I said, my name's Mr. Gilbert. When you talk to me like shit and treat me like shit, I'm going to throw a bucket of shit all over you. That was it. Get this fucking nigga in the block. Give him it. So I went down the block. There's about 5 of them. Opened the door, took me in, and they found a note. He said, that's 28 days before you even start. Yeah. And then I took the T-shirt off. He's given it me back. I've got it over my face. He's punched me about 3 or 4 times in the face, and the others have all steamed in. You know what I mean? So that was the first one. I've had a couple more since. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you've experienced violence, and you were subjected to it. You know, you're not alone there, Ray. I've been on the receiving end of a few punches and kicks, especially in the Bridewell. You know what I mean? I've got a few items there. I've also experienced getting kicks and beatings down the block in other prisons. So, right, you must have been. Do you think you were full of anger and was you like resentment against?
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, you've been convicted of a crime that you claim that you never committed, and you pleaded guilty under duress. Right, it states it here. You know, and you've obviously gone through the prison system and went through every review and claimed, look, this wasn't me. Now, do you believe that a man, obviously, you know, you get sentenced. Do you believe as a man that if you did actually do it, you go, look, all right, Sam, put my hands up, I've fucking done it, I made a mistake, I'm going to get over my time, that's it. But you done the opposite. You actually fought against the system and campaigned, and had people campaigning for you. Now I'm looking at these: free Ray Gilbert, free the Toxteth 2, police used 86 to ensure conviction. Ray Gilbert and your co-accused made the conviction undermined. You know, innocence, can you help? So this is not something that you do if you were guilty, do you believe?
Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, it depends how people adapt. You have to adapt when you're in prison. In the old days, you were just thrown in. You had to sink or swim. And if you didn't stand up for yourself, you was a victim for abuse by others who just use you. So I think I was classified as an enigma when I first went to it wasn't a proper long-term jail, but Scrubs had a long-term wing with about 250 on it, Cat A's on and that, and some notorious people on there. When I first went there, I was like, wow, what am I doing here? Because they had me down as a dull personality. They labelled me 3 different personalities in that time. Now, I had been diagnosed when I was about 8, when I was in care by a psychiatrist in Alder, that I was emotionally damaged because of what happened as a child. And he said I was developing a disturbed personality then. Now, what they meant by that, I didn't have no clue, you know what I mean? I was one of them that, as a kid, I didn't give a damn.
What was it like growing up, Ray, in the south end of Liverpool, which is, you know, for people that don't know that, it's Toxteth. I used to get called the ghetto, Granby. That was a big, you know, I remember like living on Chatsworth Estate, and, you know, Granby was the place, you know, that the police avoided, and, you know, it was a no police zone. There was a lot of kick-offs and riots back then, wasn't it? So what was it like for yourself? I mean, you're a few years older than me.
I was brought up all over Liverpool because, like, originally my grandfather, he come over from Ghana, and, like, he married an Irish woman in Liverpool. He actually run a nightclub called the Gilbert Club in the South End, and he got nicked for running that club in 1941 and got 2 years hard labour. You know, the family were actually known, but he had a house on Upper Hill Street where the whole family lived. So say he had 10 kids. They all lived in a room with their kids, but my parents moved out to Crocky when they started knocking the old houses down. It probably might have been 1960, something like that. We went to Crocky, stayed there for a few months, then my mother moved to Speak. It was in between that time, I was in and out of care every time something went on at home until they put me in care on a permanent basis in 66. So I didn't really come back to Toxteth until I had a few spells in the 70s down there when I come out of Boston and that. But when I come out after my last 6 months, 78, I went to my cousins that lived facing Myrtle Gardens on Myrtle Street, stayed the night with them. Then my auntie Maisie took me to her daughter's Alison, and I stayed there. So I used to flick between cousins and all that. But yeah, I used to watch it. It was, I enjoyed it. It was great. You know, people could do anything they wanted in any part of Liverpool. As soon as you hit the top of Parley, police would not go in.
Yeah.
It was just its own area. It was just total no-go area. And several times before the riot kicked off proper, it nearly went off quite a few times because they were targeting a kid who was actually at the time was involved with one of my cousins. He was having an affair with one of my cousins. And I used to come out of Eversley Street and caught about probably 500 people surrounding a couple of coppers because they were kept targeting this kid. So it was a few times it nearly went off. I mean, I seen people coming in, visually, fucking being smashed in the chest with CSE cans, you know what I mean, and battered. And they were all different age groups, from young to old, you know what I mean? It was just mad, you know what I mean? I'll be honest with you, if I'd have been out, I probably would have been involved in it myself, you know what I mean?
Well, that's honest, isn't it?
I mean, it was great. I mean, the nightclubs were just on your doorstep. You had the Ebo, Freetown, Silver Sounds, Mediterranean before they changed them, become Jamaica House, Gladray, Dutch Eddies, the Nides, Somali, the Yoruba on the bottom of the avenue. Oh, it's just blues all the time, just on Granby, different houses, you know what I mean? It was great. And then the Embassy on Faulkner Square, it's a normal house now, but that used to be a nightclub, and then the brasses all used to make a fortune on there, but you know what, I loved it, it was fun, but I was one of them, I didn't care. My life was just, what can you say, I wasn't in control of it myself, I just didn't care. I was railing against probably everything because of what happened to me as a child, so I was probably taking it out on society, which was probably wrong, you know what I mean? I didn't think nothing else, I didn't think of any consequences.
So did you have a tough upbringing as a child? Because I know, like from my own personal experience, like it contributes to like my behaviour growing up and the way, you know, some people don't go down the same road as me, but unfortunately I chose a path, but I wasn't aware I was choosing that path. I was sort of put into it. I mean, if that makes sense. So was it troubled?
Yes, it was. My dad's, as I say, my dad's the coloured side and my mum's the white side, and I think I was born premature, so there was no bond between me and my mum, so things just went stupid from there because my dad suffered from epilepsy, used to have fits, so I used to get chucked on the bed next door to him as a kid because he couldn't care for me, but if it wasn't for him, I actually would have been killed at the hands of my mother. She was known as a domineering, bullying person who'd worked as a prostitute herself and had ran brothels, and she actually got convictions for it. But I wasn't aware of this until I come down Liverpool late. And I don't know why she actually targeted me. I mean, I think she used to abuse them all, but I was the one that used to feel the wrath all the time. You know what I mean? I think I had my head smashed against the wall a few times. I had my teeth destroyed. I had to go in.
And this was by your mum?
Yeah, I had to go and get my teeth fixed. I think I've been caught in the face a couple of times with forks and knives. These two were off here, these two big massive lumps. I couldn't speak. I suffered from an incapacitating stammer, so I wasn't able to get the words out. I used to be sent out to go round to sisters and that, for messages, and they used to be standing on the doorway like that, thinking, hurry up, you know what I mean? And I couldn't get the words out, so it was like, to me, it was a humiliating and degrading experience. Don't get me wrong, she's apologised for what happened, and when I come out, we were getting on, but I think I was expected to phone them up all the time. I used to get up at 4 o'clock, go to work, get into work for 5:30, didn't get it back home till 6:15. I'm in bed for 8. You know what I mean? So I used to think, well, hang on, you've all got phones, why can't you phone me? You know what I mean? I say, I get 15-minute break twice a day and get half an hour break. I'm having something sweet or something like that. So in the end, I just stopped talking to him. And then something happened last year. My brother's daughter got found dead in Toxteth.
Your brother's daughter?
Yeah, she got found dead. She got found dead in a house. And then it was like, oh, it's your fault. And I'm thinking, how's it my fault? I say, I was in jail when she was doing 18 months for giving someone a false alibi. And then when I come out, I met her a few times, and she was already on drugs. So why didn't you go and sort her out? Why are you accusing me? It's my fault. I said, it's not my fault. She used to come to mine a few times when I lived in Enid Street. I used to give her money. When I moved to where I am now, I used to invite her around for the meal, but it was always, you got any money, you got any this, got any that, in the end I just said, no, know what I mean?
Was it drug overdose or?
I'm not sure, because it
sounds like it was short.
It was one of my cousin's sons that actually found her.
Yeah.
Because he used to like.
How old was she then?
She was only 42.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Which was, so I haven't spoken to them now for over 12 months because I'm not responsible. You know what I mean? It's like every time something went wrong, it's like, it's me. I'm thinking, why do you keep fucking doing it? I didn't talk to my mother, and my brother was going on with himself. And yeah, he had to bust up with them. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not involving myself. It's between you. So why are you getting involved? If I'm not talking to someone, it's not to do it with you. You know what I mean? But it was like that. I just thought myself, it's like going back in time. You know what I mean? So, because when I first came out, my sister went to me, if you're still the same person you was when you went in, we don't want to
speak to you.
Yeah.
We don't want nothing to do with you.
Oh, well, like that. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? So I mixed with the side down here. You know what I mean? They phone me up every day. They text me every day just to check I'm okay. You know what I mean? Well, don't get me wrong. We have our ups and downs, but the other side, no. Don't talk to them no more. You know what I mean?
So what was the experience? I mean, 36 years is a long time. It's a big chunk of your life. You know what I mean? Some people don't even make it to 36, right? And that's the truth. But you've actually shaved. I'm no Mother Teresa, and I've actually been and done a long time myself in different parts of my fucking journey in life. But for a whole stretch of 36, right? You've adapted. Obviously, it becomes your home. There's no hope of getting out, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got to live, and you've got to become, right? So, how many prisons did you get? Because obviously you're being transferred over the years. How many prisons did you get transferred to?
If you include stopping over of a night, I think 34.
34 prisons.
44 different prisons.
In 36 years.
Yeah, and it equated with about 60 odd moves.
So did you end up going to like Long Lartin and Full Sutton at these specials like that?
Yeah, I did Long Lartin several times. I went to Full Sutton block twice. I did Frankland on the wings and in the block twice. I did Whitemoor twice. Woodhill normal and Woodhill CSE. Hull CSE. Durham CSE. The control cells in Long Lartin block, Franklin block and Full Sutton block. Belmarsh, Dartmoor, Lewis, Risley, Walton, Manchester, Stocking, Highdown, Blakenhurst, Leeds, Birmingham, Parkhurst, Winchester, Exeter, I said Stocking, Gartree, Guysmarsh, Preston, Manchester, what's the other one in Manchester called?
Is that Tegale?
No, there's the other one. I only spent the night there. Weymouth.
Forest Bank?
Yeah, Forest Bank. Weymouth, Risley when it wasn't remanned. Yeah, so I've been up and down.
So you've done the circuit. So you must have experienced some frightening kind of situations.
Yeah.
What was anyone we know that you've been away with that's quite infamous?
I was with Jojo in the Dartmoor, and believe me, it was funny because like the riots kicked off. I'm already in the block, accused of being one of the ring leaders 2 days before they actually kicked off. They took 8 of us down off different wings in Dartmoor. This is just straight after Strangeways, when about 30 odd prisons just all went up at the same time. Yeah. So I'm in the block, and he's up on the roof, and all the Screws kids are all outside going, yes, Jojo, no man. So he's made the bed in a kind of alcove up on the roof. They had to bring a special team in from Long Lartin who actually knew who he was. Yeah. So he's come down, and me and my mate are in the block now. We're not eating or even drinking. So after 5 days, he put us up in the healthcare. They got Jojo, go and speak to him, get them to eat or drink. The minute I took something to drink, because Jojo come to the cell, he said, Ray, don't be fucking damaging yourself for these. I said, okay, you know what I mean? So as soon as I took something to eat, they burst in the cell. I went, your dad's dead, and ran out the cell dead fucking quick.
Did they?
Yeah.
They come in, has your dad actually died?
Yeah, my dad died when I was in Dartmoor, 1990. And it was the same when me brother was dying of cancer, Keith. I was in the special unit, Wood Hill, and it was arranged for me to go out to the hospital, but the police fucked it up. So when he died, I think I got wrapped up the same day he died. You know what I mean? And put from B wing to the A wing level at Wood Hill.
Used to be getting called, used to get called a mufti back then, didn't it? Mufti squad, minimal use of force and intervention. It's called
No, it's
else,
mufti then, but the special units are completely different.
Ah,
When it first changed, it used to be a AV unit, and most of the notorious lads were in there. But then they changed it in '98 and called it a CSC, which is Close Supervision Centre. So the idea was to stop people from being ghosted from block to block. So they opened that. They conned the people in Hull to sign an agreement. So when they come, they didn't like what was going on, so they didn't conform. They started to attack staff, so they had to start putting people back out on laydowns. I was on B wing, and you progress from B to C, and then you went to Hull. And my brother was dying of cancer because he started coming up, and he actually made his peace archive, me and him. And the day he died, I got told, like, but then I wanted to go to the funeral, but my family and all them said, well, we don't want you at the funeral because you're going to have 6 staff. There used to be 6 staff to unlock everybody at the time. I'm going back to 98 at Wood Hill. And they would have had 6 staff and police to actually monitor me at my brother's funeral. So I didn't go. You know what I mean? And I don't know what, I think something happened and I ended up getting jumped on, getting wrapped and taken down to the bottom level. But Wood Hill was a place of, I'm not sure, there was over 70 odd cameras all around. Every exercise had two cameras, one at each end. When you went in through the door, they pressed a button and it come up in for red. And you heard a little click, so you could see someone through a camera in the door, open the door. There was 2 cameras on each landing. There was only 2 landings. There was 4 wings. There was E section, which was started getting used for YOYs. Then there was D wing, which was the punishment section. C wing was the progressive, but then they changed that. They gave that to Parkers. So the superclasses and Parkers used to interchange with each other. From there, then they come and spend time on the unit on the C wing. So we just had A and B for a while. And yeah, I just got fucking jumped on, so I didn't go to the funeral. You know what I mean? I was in Hull with Charlie Bronson, which was funny.
Have you met Charlie? I
Yeah.
read that letter about Charlie.
Yeah, I used to sit there with Charlie, used to play chess with Charlie, used to play drafts with Charlie. It was a competition. It was a competition who'd get the most mail every day. You know what I mean? Because I get some like, oh, you got more than me today. And I look at this pal and say, oh, you got more than fucking me today. But the mail used to get abused, bad style. I used to get letters every day from MPs and the House of Lords regards the case. Because I used to...
Was you just putting...
Everyone you can think of.
So like, you're sitting there, you're playing chess with Charlie Bronson. He's notorious, he's infamous, he's written books, there's a fucking movie he made about him. This, what was his name? I think Michael Peterson.
Yeah, Michael Peterson.
Yeah, he went away initially for robbery.
Yeah, he went away for robbery first.
And he just hasn't been released.
No, well, he's been getting nicked regular for taking people hostage. We were in Hull, right, and I think me and Fred were in the computer room. Mac was doing Tai Chi. Tony was doing woodwork, and the other 2, I don't know what they were doing.
It's in Wood Hill?
No, this is in Hull unit. We had our own wing, which is one half of the block. We had our own exercise, downstairs, 2 TV rooms. We had a gym. We had our own cooking facilities, our own laundry, library, big proper full-size snooker table, tennis table. Upstairs was the officers on the 2s, the 3s were ourselves with the showers. The 4th didn't get used. And they knew this teacher had criticised his artwork, so they knew if he come on that wing, he was going to get attacked. What happened? He walked on the wing. There was half a dozen staff on the wing that could have prevented it. They ran upstairs and locked themselves behind the gate. Then they're all screaming. Everyone bang up. We're like that. Go on, fucking do one. We ain't banging up. And it took about half an hour to get everyone behind the door. And then you could hear this teacher being told, sing hymns, you know what I mean? And he was singing hymns. Charlie brought him round to everybody, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. And where my pad was, I smashed the spy hole so I could see what was going on.
Yeah.
So the gate was here, right? So he brought up 2 chairs. He had a rope tied round there with a female woman's hat on, right? And he had the
Charlie.
rope, he had it tied to the teacher. And like, the teacher's talking to the staff behind the gate because they've locked themselves behind the gate where they used to come in and get searched, and all the parents used to come in and get searched. This teacher's asking the staff, can't you change me for one of you? They're like that, no way. And then I was looking out the window because the cells one side used to face the harbour in Hull. And you could hear the teachers coming up the path, especially the teacher who must have taught computers. He's like that, get in there, smash them up. They've done my computers, and I'm thinking, we haven't touched your stuff at all. You know what I mean? And then you see them all coming in then, plain clothes with suitcases. You could hear drills going in the walls where they were drilling holes in the wall and putting cameras at strategic places so you could see what was going on. So that night, a couple went down the block. We went down the next day. It was absolutely destroyed. The ground floor, he'd ripped doors off, everything was destroyed.
Charlie has ripped doors off.
Yeah, so he come down a couple
of hours. That's true then. I mean, I've heard rumours and I've read stories, and did he actually rip jaws off? How's that possible then?
See the old style prison door? It was like wood, and you could get a boot where the hinges were. You could put a boot in the hinges.
I remember that,
and slam the door, and the door could come off. But he nearly got into a cell at Woodhill where he buckled a metal door in half, virtually. You know what I mean? Where the strength come from, I don't know. But we used to be on the yard with him sometimes, and he'd get one of us on his back, press-ups. It was just, honest, it's just mad. But he shouldn't have been found guilty for that. He actually got his life for that. I went to court to give evidence for him. I was kept in Woodhill normal block. They would not let me go to court to give evidence. I don't understand why. I mean, the fact is, they've ran and locked themselves behind the gate, knew full well that something was going to happen, and they let it happen. You know what I mean? And then he ended up getting life for that. And then since then, he's took a few more hostage. I think other year, he got another governor in the headlock, and I think he got another 2 on for that. You know what I mean?
Do you think he should be released?
I think he should be given a chance, A chance? Yeah, should do. You know, he's done long enough.
He's been away for how long? 40-something years.
He's not the only one who's in solitary. Mosley's in
he's a Scouser,
solitary.
isn't he?
He's a Scouser originally from Speak. And then went to London, got nicked for murder there. Then went to Broadmoor. Him and someone else killed someone in Broadmoor. Then he went to Wakefield. He enticed 2 into the cell, killed them there. He had a list of people he was going to kill. And he's been in solitary. But
we used to put people to bed in jail.
Yeah.
We should just put them to kip.
Yeah.
It's documented anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, when I first went to Scrubs, they put some kid on the wing, and people on the wing told them, do not put him on this wing because you're putting people at risk. Within a couple of weeks of this kid being on the wing, he took someone hostage. So everyone was proved right. You know what I mean?
So he's in a segregation within segregation now?
Well, mostly he is, but I was next door to him in Durham. It used to be a Cat A wing before they changed it to the CSE, becoming another part of the CSE. Now it doesn't take Cat A's. But he was next door to me. There used to be someone sit outside his cell all day long when he was upstairs on the tubes before they put him back downstairs. He had a metal gate on, a door behind that. So they used to open the door and give him his food through the door, you know what I mean? I used to talk to him on the yard. They brought him to Woodhill. They gave him the opportunity to mix with people. He refused. You know what I mean? So he actually had the chance. But I do think, okay, his age now, if you put him on a wing now, and he tried his bollocks, people would take him out. Because he's been, I left the dispersal estate in 98 when I went to the special unit at Woodhill. I was kept in the special unit until 2004. I then went from there to Grendon, and I was told basically As long as you sit in that chair, you can express how you feel.
Yeah.
I did. I was moved out. You know what I mean? And everyone was saying, even people on the wing saying, he hasn't done nothing. He hasn't got out the chair. He hasn't threatened nobody. But because he spoke his mind, you didn't like it. Back up. You know what I mean? So I went there basically to work on childhood issues and prison issues. He said, the minute you discuss the case, you're gone. You know what I mean? So
he didn't want you discussing the case whatsoever?
No.
So going forward now, you know, you're serving this sentence, you know, you're in a prison, you've got no choice but to be there. And all the time, you claim to be innocent, and new evidence suggests that it's undermining the fact that you've been... So what's going on, you know, I know you're not going to, but what's the plans going forward about this to squash this conviction?
Now, someone's got a project they're actually working on at this minute in time. I can't say too much because I don't want to jeopardise the work this person's doing.
Brilliant, that's okay.
So she's working on that. I've got a ex-police officer who wants to become involved in the case. He wants to examine all the statements from when we were both questioned. He wants to see all the prisoners' statements and see about the stuff about DNA. Yeah. So he's involved. We're going to create a new leaflet this weekend. I've got to go and see someone who's campaigning on my behalf.
Is that the old leaflet here?
That was one of the original ones. That's a couple of years old as well. So it's, we're doing a new one. We're going to do. It's going to be a 4-page thing. So pictures are going to be on the front, stuff is going to be in the middle, and then who people can contact will be on the back.
What it says here, like this now, this day and age, reasons why the convictions were unsafe. 1, no identification. Not one of the eyewitnesses picked out right from any of the ID parades. No. 2, no forensic evidence to link either of the two to the crime. 3, fabrication of evidence by police and various inmates. 4, uncorroborated statements, evidence used in prosecution. 5, alibis of the accused were not properly investigated by the police. 6, 2 juries dismissed, one on point of law, the other not disclosed. 7, interference of defence witnesses. 8, destruction of custody records. And finally, deals with police were made, remand prisoners to testify for shorter sentences. Then all interviews and statements not released. So you've got inmates, right, looking to get early release, few brownie points. Let's say I've been chatting to Ray and Ray said to me, look, I never done it. So, but I'm going to tell her the screws that he did. And that is that what they're classing as evidence?
Yeah, as well, yeah.
Well, that's bullshit, isn't it, in this day and age? It's like, I couldn't even believe myself.
Well, don't forget,
back then.
In that day and age, going back to the 80s, there was no PACE Act. The PACE Act come out in about 84.
Yeah.
So you had protection, but they started to do interviews on tape. These interviews weren't done on tape. Every week we were going up to the magistrates. They were taking people out of the cell, blatantly sitting them outside the cell and asking them questions. We could actually hear it, asking them what we had said. As I said, the first night...
So it looks like they had a weak case,
yeah,
right? And what they were just clutching at straws and just wanting someone to say something. So someone turns up and actually made a statement.
Yeah.
This has got to be a VP of some sort. It's got to be a fucking vulnerable prisoner. What are one of these?
Well, the amount of people, I mean, I can't say how many they actually interviewed. I mean, the first night in Cheapside, they took someone out who admitted he knew the family. He got questioned. He didn't say nothing. 2 of the others in the cell did. They made statements. And then when we were on remand, I understand he went to Risley. They went to Strangeways. They were questioning people in the police stations all over Liverpool. And that is where they got people to... people were given deals because One of them got nicked for rape, and he ended up just getting a 5-year sentence for his out. A couple of others, I'm not sure what they got, but you could honestly say
I'm
deals.
reading this now, Ray, confession. Why did Ray confess to a crime he did not commit? So that's a big one that the viewers will probably be asking. Why did he confess? Why did he admit guilt? Okay, so why did Ray confess to a crime he did not commit and change his plea to guilty during the trial? He signed a statement in which he confessed to murder after 48 hours alone in police custody, a vulnerable youth being questioned at various times of day and night. At that time, before the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984, which is PACE, had been enacted, there were fewer safeguards in place for a lad like Ray. Then he withdrew his confession once he was remanded to prison. So that is like, it's like what it becomes is like a contradiction to yourself, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, I fucking admitted it under duress, gets remanded, and then all of a sudden, I'm fucking not, I'm changing my plea here. So, it's like the boy who cried wolf. You've heard that one, haven't you?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Ray, you said you'd done it. And now you're saying you're not.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I get it. And that's the questions you're going to get asked.
Yeah, well, I've also, as I say, I mean, what I was in, I've been to court 4 times while I've been in. I took the rap for someone else, for something else while I've been in. I thought, well, I'm not going nowhere till I prove me innocence. Right. So I took the rap for someone else who ended up getting not guilty. And then I was asked to take the rap for something else where I got found guilty and the other person didn't get found guilty.
So there's a lot of, you're just like a fall guy in some areas. Do you feel that like you were quite vulnerable and you were sort of like targeted by...
I think my behaviour and all that, because people used to, I used to get involved in all kinds of subversive acts.
These by older lads?
Yeah.
These must be fucking prehistoric now, these.
Some of them are, I mean, I used to like, inside, I used to do things that probably, if I had sat back and think about it now, I wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sabotage, smashing toilets up, setting fire to TV rooms,
We've done it. We do
shitting people up, staff up, attacking staff. You know what I mean? Fucking whatever. I mean, it's how madness. I used to get offered to submit, you know, like when you used to put apps in.
Yeah.
I used to put 500 in a week just to wind them up, just for a bar of chocolate. Honestly, it was funny. And I used to go, when you used to open the door in the morning, say, give us 500 apps, and they'd be looking at me like, are you taking a piss? I went, no, give us the 500 apps. And I'd filled them in. If I didn't get an answer back within 24 hours, they were going back in. Yeah. And they were like, that, you're only doing this for a bar of chocolate, aren't you? I'll go, yeah. You dig me out and I'll dig out yours. Some jails I was in, I used to post that much mail every Monday. I'd sit from Friday night till Sunday and write loads of letters to everybody and them in. They would stop exercise for the wing. So we can't give you exercise, someone's posted too much mail.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, they're looking at like they're looking at ostracising you from the rest of the prison population by the sounds of it. We'll separate them.
Well,
we'll create harm. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I was constantly swagged because one of the kids who's supporting me, I met him in Long Lartin. He was fighting his case, and his case is exactly the same as like mine. He actually won his case after they did 11, I think it was 11, 8 or 12 years, 8 months. He's helping me. And 1 minute I'd be there, and next I'd be gone. I'd be on the basic regime. They brought a basic regime out in, I think, 95, where they brought a basic regime, piss testing, and TVs, which completely changed the prison system. I mean, even the drug testing changed the prison system. People went from smoking cannabis straight on to hardcore drugs because they don't stay in your body that long. So I was forever getting swagged from a wing to basic on people's say-so.
So was you on the weed when you were away a lot?
I used to smoke weed, yes. Yeah, I used to smoke the weed, make the hooch.
The rocky, the hooch.
Kid, you know what, years ago, they might try and deny it. That long line when I went there in the 80s, your spare used to be might be 16 cells on the spare. You could put a curtain on the spare, put a table out like this, like it was half of this size. Everything you could think of would be put on that table. A big massive bin, the big black bins, would come out full of each, and you could just party. Sometimes the staff would come along, open the curtain and ask if it was okay to come down, because they were sound. The policy was, as long as you don't touch bacons, you can do whatever you want. And people used to just party. We've got tapes which someone's got outside of us partying in a couple of jails, and when we sent them out to the family, they could not believe it. They were rolling about the floor, laughing their heads off.
So Scrooge just turning blind eyes. And I can imagine that, like, you've got nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're shaving a life sentence, and like many others, you've got nothing to lose. Yeah. These Scrooge are underpaid. They just want an easy life. Yeah. Right, as long as you're not taking the piss, then okay. And I've seen it, right? Corruption, turning blind eyes, easy life. And you've got your jobs worth as well. You've got those Scrooge that are fucking make life really, really hard for you. And I suppose it's a bit of a balance, isn't it? So you go through this. You're spending fucking years into specials, which is it's like they're frightening, right? They are frightening.
They are, but the worst now. I mean, because of the lockdown now, I think you've got the control back. But before the lockdown, you had a big, massive war going on in the dispersal estate. You had Muslims fighting the whites, because in one jail in the dispersal, they started sending the Muslims up there. They were getting set up to be attacked, so they started fighting back. And certain people who were notorious from all over the country had their own little war going on. And then they've just somehow, they've joined with that body, and they're fighting each other every time they see each other. It's mad. You know what I mean? I've actually seen a couple of bodies being dragged out, dead bodies. I've seen people hang themselves. I've seen people go up onto the floors and dive headfirst over the floors landing to kill themselves and survive. I've seen people set fire to the cells. You know what I mean? I was going to say, when the Dartmoor riot kicked off, someone actually got burnt to death in the cell. He was stuck to the wall. You know what I mean? So
fucking frightening. It's frightening. No, I have yeah, it is. It's like it's not easy. It's not a. See, prison isn't a fucking nursery or a kindergarten, or it's not mother care, is it? You don't go in there and everyone's shaking everyone's hands and being the best of mates. It's a fucking volatile place.
It's a volatile place, yeah. But you know what? You do meet some good people. You can meet some genuine people. I've seen people in there with some of the skills they've got. See if they were given a chance outside. Oh my! I've seen people make stuff out of wood, billion. Seen people paint stuff, and I'm like, that. Wow, amazing. So I'm saying, honestly, I've seen some people create some
very, very creative people.
Yeah, creative people, and you wonder why you've got that skill. Why haven't you? I mean, I don't know if they learned it while they're inside, but you think give them an opportunity to use that outside. See, because a lot of the things you've heard about, you don't hear as well about the good work people do in prison for charity as well. You know what I mean? I did a couple of runs in Scrubs, did 2 half marathons around the yard for charity. I did a couple in the Durham Uni for charity. I did a full marathon there, and then I did a half one for the hospice and someone else, Grandin. I did a half marathon on the treadmill, because I didn't. One win was doing a pop idol contest, for raising money so a kid could go to the USA for a thing. I did a 13-mile run on the treadmill. Then me and a couple of others did a 20,000 sit-up challenge for charity, which we did between the 4 of us, raised money. I've done quite a few.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do a lot of good within the prison service and in the system for charities. I've experienced it myself. Seen over like spinning bike classes that there were marathons that sponsored. The money that we raised went to charity. Like you said, like weightlifting and competitions and donating money out. Because some of my mates have got small amounts of wages, but they're asked, and it's their choice whether they want to donate something to this charity. And 90% of the inmates do, and that goes to wherever it goes. So yeah, there's a lot of good that comes from.
Well, people think people in jail, they're all blah, 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 but they're not. Okay, some people have done wrong and they're paying for it, you know what I mean? But everyone deserves that chance, you know what I mean? Because you're in prison doesn't say, don't give them a chance. As you hear some people throw away the key or go in and do this to them, go in and do that to them. They're a human being. I mean, some people need to put themselves into other people's shoes. When I went to Grandin, I had to change the way I used to view things. I had to put myself in people's shoes, because some people thought, oh, he's come from the CSE. Oh, no, I mean, I'm thinking...
So you were judged? You felt you were judged?
Yeah, I was judged because I think when I went there and I was on the induction wing, I think I did 6 months on the induction wing. No one's ever done that long. It ended up with a member of the House of Lords and one of my campaigners from London having a meeting. I don't know if it was in the House of Lords or wherever, and in the end they agreed to give me a chance.
What I believe in, Ray, is like if you've done wrong, right, you admit it, yeah, and you move on and you change. For those that continuously commit crime and don't change, then are they worth giving a chance to? Because you can only meet someone halfway. So I went through this whole journey of addiction, prison systems, wanting to stop, wanting to change, didn't know how to. So eventually someone extended the hand of help and said, look, I can support you here and I can show you a way out. And that sort of propelled me into where I am today. I changed, right? And I've been in this frame of mind for a good few years now. It's about giving back to society, giving back to the community, being of a benefit instead of a detriment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So and I understand that, and I do see a lot of people in there who don't really belong in there, like like yourself. You've seen that yourself. So we're coming back to you spent a long time away, Ray. You went through, obviously you went through like the remands, the D-specials, the units, the Cat Cs. So what was that like going from a D-special eventually to because a Cat C is a lower category, of a prison, isn't it?
It depends.
Where Stafford, I was in there.
It depends where you are. I mean, I did Risley, I did Weymouth, I did Stockham, I did Guy's Marsh, and Kenneth, which was like, used to be called Cat A Kenneth. No, I mean, so it was probably when I got down to Kenneth, or say Guy's Marsh, that's where I got my first town visit Guy's Marsh.
Was that from a Cat C? So you got a rattle?
You got no town visit. I got went out with a member of staff, so you could see how you are able to converse with the public, how you handle money, and generally just to watch how you behave. So I had a couple there. I went to Shaftesbury on the first one, and went to Bournemouth for the next two, and then I come up to Kenneth, and got a job working in the kitchen, which I couldn't believe was outside the jail. So I used to get rattled to go and work in the kitchen. So you go out the gate, a door in the gate, and there's the kitchen, there's the gate. So you walk and say 15 steps, working out, and they were quite happy. And then I went to work in a charity shop on County Road, Bernardo's. I got a rattle ban because I got caught. Well, I didn't get caught there. I was involved with one of the staff that worked there. So
sexual interaction.
So I proved that what was alleged wasn't true, but the fact is what happened.
There was a sneaky little grin there.
So it ended up with me going back to work in the kitchen after a while, you know what I mean? And then I actually got me released from there. But I used to go out from there once a month, townies, and then I started getting me home leave. Started off 1 day a month, then it went up to 2, then it was going up to 5 days a month. So it was preparing me for release. I had family then on both sides, picking me up, taking me out, and all that. So when I come out, they were there. I'll give them their due. I appreciate what they done. When I was in the hostel, I used to pick me up, take me out, go all over. Then I got the flat on Enid Street, which was a bedsit. And probation went mad because they didn't, when they found out who the landlady was, they were going mad. So I stayed there for a couple of months and then got the flat where I am now, where I've been there nearly 4 years next month. I've had help, family have contributed towards it. And
so How are you adapting to being outside? I mean, you've been out how long? 4 years?
Just over 4 years.
Yeah.
I started work, got a job. I was working for the recycling firm, and things were going sweet for the couple of years. And then something happened where someone, the other half, put something on a website and speaking on Facebook, trying to cause trouble. And then people started targeting me, and I'm thinking, well, hang on. You know what I mean? So I let it go. In the end, I just had enough and just walked away before something happened. You know what I mean? So I ended up being put on the sick. You know what I mean? Down to probably stress and anxiety. So
Well, yeah, well, obviously you can imagine, you know, being away for that long and then trying to adapt to reality and the outside world, you know, and still fighting, you know, for your own conviction to be squashed because, you know, there's fresh evidence that...
well, at first I'd say it was difficult because I was told.
Have you been fighting this for 4 years though? Like, I mean, obviously you've been
fighting. When it first come out, I was told if I spoke to the media, it would be interpreted in a certain way. So I've had to be cautious what I say. You know what I mean? So it's like, as you say, it's like walking on eggshells because you basically can't do nothing. I mean, the probation I've got at the minute, she's okay, she's sound. You know what I mean? I think she understands. You know what I mean? Some are like, obviously they've got rules to abide by, so that I comprehend. You know what I mean? But if someone's innocent, you've got to allow them that opportunity. Because Mick, who's working on the case, he fought with someone else to actually get the right to access to speak to journalists inside. So when you come out, it should be the case you can speak to them inside, you can speak to them outside. You shouldn't be recalled back to jail for...
Is this the recent Echo report?
No, that's on here.
Is that online one?
No, that's an old one. That's from when I was in Durham. The other one's here. You can get it up.
This is in 2006. This is 4 years ago.
And that's from there's been a couple. Actually went out on the Liverpool News online thing. You know, like the where people can comment on it.
Yeah.
Then it went out on the Liverpool Echo on the Monday, and then it went on to 2 other sites. The Daily Record up in Scotland, and something called upnews.com, which is in India.
Yeah.
So I was like that, wow, I know. But yeah, I've had quite a few people, well, that's 31 years in prison, that's that. Yes, it's been very interesting. I mean, as I say, when you come out, you've got to adapt to how it is. So, as I say, no, that's the Echo one. That was a different version to the one that went out on the line, the Liverpool Echo News online.
36 years in jail for a murder I didn't commit. I want to clear my name. And is that all you want, Ray, just to get your name cleared? Yeah, that's it. And then you can carry on with the normal life. At the minute, I wouldn't say I have a normal life because if I ever get took off, say, PIP, and have to find work, then I've got to tell them I've been convicted. If I'm involved with anybody in a relationship, I've got to tell them. So your life's not your own?
No, man. So it isn't easy. And then you've got to be careful. You can't have an argument with anyone, because if someone finds out you're out on license, all they have to do is go like that. I've just been threatened by him.
You're just walking on eggshells. Yeah. Okay, so you know what, I've really enjoyed talking with you, Ray, really have. So is I always say this, is there any pearls of wisdom that you could tell, you know, any young listeners or any people who are thinking about, you know...
If they're thinking about crime, I'd say no, don't get involved. Prison ain't what people think. Some people think it's a holiday camp. They're not holiday camps. Your dispersals are dangerous fucking places where people get killed. Long Line is the murder capital of the prison system. Over 10 that I'm aware of being killed there just for stupid arguments. You know, honestly, it's It's not a place for anybody to go to prison. If you've got a life and you've made a mistake, try and rectify it. And if you need guidance, you can come to me. I'll speak to you. I mean, I want to get involved in helping people.
And I'll put all your social media platforms on the end of this podcast, right? So if people want to get in touch with Ray, then, you know, feel free. And you've got a page now, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a private page for anyone who sends me a friend request who's interested in justice. And I mean injustice, not about me.
You're getting a few people on there now, aren't you?
Yeah,
I
think there was 388 the last time I checked.
Yeah.
I'm interested in justice, not just mine, but justice for other people who are in prison, who are fighting their cases, who shouldn't be there. Joint enterprise, which has destroyed quite a few families. They've got their own website, but if people want to contact me for any advice and all that, I'll help them. Then there's also prison issues. Yeah. Anyone wants any help on that? Yes.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean? I've got a poetry as well. I'm trying to get a book done, for the poetry.
Oh yeah, you're writing a book, aren't you? Or is it a book on poetry or is it a book?
I've got enough poems there now for a book, but I'm actually doing a book. I've been asked to do my book for several years by people who've been campaigning on my behalf. So I've done about 90 pages on it so
90?
far. Yeah, about 90. Yeah.
Okay, that's a start. It's really good. It's did you wrote this yourself as well?
Yes.
Hands up, lad. It's
myself. I'm going to get help because a mate said to me, you need to expand on certain things. He said, you've got a habit of going from one subject to another. So I've got to go back.
Just write anything you can down, right? This is what I was told to me, right? Billy, no matter what you write, just keep writing. And I finished my second book and that gets released in July next year. And I'm like yourself, right? I've had time on my hands and I've wrote, right? And I believe when you're writing your own story and not dictating it, you can feel it. You can feel what you're writing. And I don't know, it works for me anyway. It might work.
No, it's probably, you probably too, but I think the difference is writing a book from the context that you've written your book from. What I put in that book, if the book's done before my case conviction's overturned, it will go to the Home Office to actually analyse. And if they're not happy with stuff that's in there, they could turn around and say, we want that to take you out, unless you got proof these things happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have to be careful what I actually put in there.
That's it, to be careful. But anyway, once again, Ray, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me today.
Hello guys, if you've enjoyed this podcast, then subscribe here. Follow me on all social media platforms here. And my guests are here. Thank you.